So this next page we're going to do in treble clef. As always, you can pick the clef that is best for your instrument. So our first job is to create a musical question. So for this question, we're going to use the first 5 notes of the C major scale, C, D, E, F, and G. And we're going to start on C, and we're going to finish on a note that is not C. So perhaps C, D, E, D, F, D, E, F, G, F. So here's an example. Obviously, you can make your own. For the second line, we're going to take and create a parallel answer to that question. So for a parallel answer, it starts the same as the question. However, it finishes on C. So if I have it start the same, C, D, E. I'm going to start to change it now. F, G, F, E, D, C. So your answer could look different than mine, especially if your question is different than mine. However, that will give you an example of how to do this. Now for the third line, we're making a contrasting answer to our question. So it's going to start differently, but it's still going to end on C. So I think I'll use the same rhythm. G, F, E. And then G, F, E, D, C. So there's room on the second half of the page for you to make another question and 2 more answers. So in order to keep your life simple, I would also start on C and use your question not ending on C, and then your answers make them parallel and contrasting. So 3 more little melodies. So on the next page, we are going to start to write our song. So for this Monster 1 song, we are going to start with the musical question that we created on the page before. So for us, at least for me, we've got C, D, E, D, F, D, E, F, G, F. And this question is going to come back again on the third line. So I'm going to do both of those at the same time. Terrific. All right, so for the second line, we're going to use the contrasting answer. So that's the little melody that doesn't start the same as the question. So for us, or for me, it was G, F, E, more Fs, and some quarter notes again. G, F, E, D, C. And then on the fourth line, we're going to use the parallel answer. So that was the second one we wrote on the page before. C, D, E, F, G, F, E, D, C. Now the next step is to use the chords, the primary chords from the first page, the C chord, which has C, E, and G, the G chord, which is the 5 chord, which is G, B, and D, and the 4 chord, F, A, and C, and create something for the left hand to do. So if you play the violin, or you play the cello, or you play a one-line, one-voice instrument, flute, then you'll want to make both clefs be such that you could play either part, and in essence you're making a duet instead of something for 2 hands. However, since I'm being piano-centric right now, I'm gonna do the lower part in bass clef. So the first measure has C, D, and E, and of those 3 chords, the 1 chord has the most notes in common. So I'm going to use the C chord for that first measure. All right, so the second measure, we've got a D and an F. So in this case, I'm going to go with the G chord. G, B, D, because we've got the D, and I know that the F will at least sound fairly kosher. The next measure, we've got the D again, we've got the F on beat 3, so I think I'm going to go with G chord again. Now you may write these in any inversion, you don't have to keep them in root position. For this first one though, I'm working on making it very easy to play. So root position C chord, root position G chord, root position G chord. With that F, I'm going to use root position F. All right. So the next measure, G, F, E. So this could go one of 2 ways. I'm thinking I'm going to emphasize the G. There are actually many, many choices. But in order to keep our song simple and say that we're only using 3 chords, I think G will work very nicely there. We have measure of F, so I think F chord will be the one we want. It's the only one that has an F in it, so that's a really good choice there. Another G chord. And then we're going to have a C chord. For the 4th measure on the line. All right. So the next line, we can make it the same as the first. So wait, C chord, G chord. Actually, I'll make a slight change. We'll still do G, but we'll make it a half note. And then we'll do an F half note. And you can decide which one you like better. Slight variation. G chord again, and then F chord. So starting the fourth line, C, D, E. That looks like C chord again. I like that half note, half note. So we'll use F, G, F, G, C. Excellent. An entire brand new song. So you have written your first monster song. There are spaces to write 2 more of this type of monster in the monster book. I will see you next time.